Hope you guys are all having a good day today. I want to talk about the book of Philippians. Now to do this, I'm going to steal an analogy that I heard once from my friend Tim that I thought was really cool. He kind of talked about how there's three different approaches to reading scripture that are synonymous to different ways in which you would explore a new city. So imagine that you've just moved or you're on vacation and you want to kind of explore a city. There's three very different ways you could do this. One is you could walk through the city. You could walk or take public transportation. And this would take a long time, but you would probably see a lot of things really closely. You would spend a lot more time in certain areas. You probably wouldn't get to see maybe the whole city unless you had more time. So you can walk or you could bike. If you bike through a city, you're going to see things faster. You're going to see things quicker. You're going to see more of it. But again, you're not going to stop as much. You're going to have to choose where you would stop. And the third is you could drive through a city. You could drive through. It would be the fastest way to do it. You'd get a quick look and maybe just an overview of what it was like. Similarly, this is how we can approach many parts in Scripture, right? If you walk through a book of the Bible, you're going to go verse at a time, little sections at a time, spend time studying it, looking for different connections. If you bike through a book of the Bible, you might take it in a week or so versus a few months and take paragraphs and chapters at a time. Or you can drive through a book of the Bible. And this is, you're going to sit down and you're going to read it in one sitting. And you're really just going to go for what is the overview? What is the main idea? What are some of the major themes? These are all really great approaches to reading Scripture. And for whatever reason lately, I've just been doing the drive-through approach with certain books. I found it really enjoyable to sit down, read through an entire book in one sitting and see what kind of pops up. So recently I did this with the book of Philippians and man, I just found so many connections to the season that we're in right now. And so I just want to share some of the big picture themes in the book of Philippians that I found really impactful. And then I want to just invite you to say, hey, sit down and drive through, read the book of Philippians in one sitting. So here's some of the things that Philippians tells us. I just wrote these down as I was reading it. First is to rejoice in your suffering. To not put your confidence in your flesh, but rather put your confidence in the gospel and what God has actually done, not on what we can do by our own human might. Then Paul says to remember each other through prayer and supplication, to constantly be in prayer for one another. To use all our circumstances, no matter where you find yourself, as an opportunity to spread the gospel. Paul was in prison when he wrote Philippians, and he saw his imprisonment as an opportunity to share the gospel with those who were keeping him in jail. And so no matter what your circumstances are, good or bad, use that as an opportunity to spread the gospel. Then he says to serve one another like Christ. To seek the hope of God today, to put your hope in God on a daily basis and in His provision for us. And then towards the end, he says to learn to be content, whether you have a lot or whether you have a little, that Christ will supply everything that you need to find joy and contentment in every season of life, plenty or want. Those are just a few of the themes. And so with those in mind, I just want to invite you, sit and read the book of Philippians start to finish. It should take about 15 to 20 minutes and just see if you can make some connections between some of those major themes and your life today.